Today we discussed about the topic transmission of impulses through neuron, that is nerve fiber and reflex actions. First we draw the picture of a typical neuron. Here we draw two neurons, adjacent neurons. The parts of neuron include the cell body, that is the head portion, then nucleus, dendron, dendrites, nucleus bodies or nucleus granules, axon, myelin sheet or medullary sheet, axonate, synaptic knobs and synaptic cleft and adjacent neuron. The cell body contains, this is the cell body contains a prominent nucleus and other cell organelles like mitochondria, ribosome, etc. and granular cytoplasm with granules, that is known as nucleus granules. The dendrites, bring impulses from receptors. These dendrites bring impulses from receptors. Impulses means heat, cold, pressure, etc. Dendrites bring impulses from receptors. The receptors, examples of receptors, skin, muscle, gland, etc. The dendrites bring impulses from receptors. The axon is the long nerve fiber covered with proteinaceous myelin sheet or medullary sheet. So it looks like whitish in color. The cell body is grey or reddish color. The myelin sheet speed up the impulses that passing through the axon. The myelin sheet helps for speed up the impulses that passing through the axon. Synapse produce chemical. The synapse that situated at the end portions of axonates. The synapse produce the chemical acetylcholine. The synapse, these knobs produce chemical acetylcholine, which convert physical impulses that passing through the axon to chemical form and transfer to the dendrites of the next neuron. The acetylcholine that helps for convert the physical impulses that passing through the axon to chemical form and transfer to the dendrite of next neuron. Then how the electric signals is passing through the neuron. Electric signals passing through neuron. Transmission of impulses through nerve fiber. Transmission of impulses through the nerve fiber is electrochemical. The impulse become electrochemical impulses that travel as a wave of depolarization. Now we draw the picture, a piece of axon. This is the part of axon. This is the piece of axon. The transmission of impulses through nerve fiber, that is the part of axon, is electrochemical impulses. that means that is electrochemical impulse, travel as a wave of depolarization. In normal resting condition, nerve fiber is said to be polarized. Normal condition, the nerve fiber become polarized. At a polarized condition, the positive charge become on the outside part, seen on outer side. In normal resting condition, this is the resting condition, nerve fiber is said to be polarized. It is due to more sodium ions, more Na plus ions outside the cell membrane. Again, in normal resting condition, nerve fiber is said to be polarized. It is due to more sodium ions, Na plus ions, seen outside the cell membrane of axon. It is by the activity of sodium-potassium pump. It is by the activity of sodium-potassium pump and active transport using ATP energy. The energy provider is always ATP, adenosine triphosphate. When a stimulus arrives at a nerve fiber, this is the resting condition. Then next, when a stimulus, that means pressure, cold, heat, etc. etc. When a stimulus arrives at the nerve fiber, there are some changes occurred. The changes as follows. When a stimulus arrives at a nerve fiber, the changes as follows. The sodium ions move inward. The sodium ions move inward. The positive charge move inward and negative charge outward. That is the condition depolarization. Depolarization. Negative charge outside and positive charge move inside. When the adjoining point of cell membrane, of cell membrane depolarized and pre-depolarized area become change into polarized. If an impulse passing through the axon, it is a wave-like movement. First resting condition, that is the positive charge on outside, that is polarized condition. Then again this area become depolarized and next piece become depolarized. Polarization and depolarization occurs alternatively. The adjoining point of cell membrane depolarized and pre-depolarized area become change into polarized. That means once the positive charge on outside, then if an impulse passing through this area, this become depolarized, that means negative charge on inside and positive charge outside. Then next this become altered, the negative charge become outside and positive charge inside. This impulse passing to next area, this again alter its position, that is the positive charge outside and negative charge inside. This process of depolarization and polarization activity continue through the nerve fiber and impulse passing through the nerve fiber. Again, once more, when a stimulus arrives at a nerve fiber, the resting phase become the positive charge outside, sodium ions move. If an impulse passing or coming through this area become depolarized, the positive charge become enter into inside and negative charge outside. Then this impulse passing to next direction or area, this then reversed, become polarized. This is polarized, this area is depolarized, then this is polarized and this area become depolarized. The sodium ions move inward and the negative charge move inward. The negative charge, the sodium ions move inward and positive charge move inward. The negative charge become outward, that is depolarization. Again, then the adjacent point of cell membrane depolarized and pre-depolarized area become polarized. This process of depolarization and polarization on activity continue through the nerve fiber and the impulse passing through it. Next topic, all or none principle. All or none principle. What is all or none principle? For traveling an impulse through the nerve fiber, a threshold energy required. A threshold energy is required for this movement. Threshold is the minimum energy required for the movement of an impulse. Threshold is the minimum energy required for the movement of an impulse. But increasing the intensity of impulse cannot raise the speed of the transmission. That is known as all or none principle. For traveling an impulse through nerve fiber, a threshold energy required. Threshold is the minimum energy required for the movement of an impulse. But increasing in intensity of impulse, increasing the intensity of the stimulus cannot raise the speed of transmission. The speed of transmission. For traveling an impulse through the nerve fiber, a threshold energy required. Threshold is the minimum energy required for the movement of an impulse. But increasing the intensity of stimulus cannot raise the speed of transmission. That is known as all or none principle. Next topic, reflex action. Reflex action. Reflex action. It is an automatic. Reflex action is automatic, quick and involuntary action in the body through about by stimulus. Reflex action is an automatic, quick and involuntary action in the body through about by a stimulus. There are two types of reflex actions, that is simple and conditional. Simple and conditional. First, simple reflex action. Simple reflex action is inborn or natural, which do not require a previous experience. It is the simple reflex action is inborn or natural, which do not require a previous experience. A previous experience. Example, the hand withdraw fastly when we touch on a hot plate. Second example, quick closing of eyelids noticing an object suddenly approaching the eye. Next, second, conditional reflex action. Conditional reflex action. Outcome of repeated experience. Outcome of repeated experience, brain remember the situation and work in an unconscious manner, that is known as reflex action. Such reflexes are called conditional reflexes. Outcome of repeated experience, brain remember the situation and works in an unconscious manner. Unconscious manner. Such reflexes are called conditional reflexes. The outcome of repeated experience, brain remember the situation and works as an unconscious manner. Such reflexes called conditional reflexes. Example, applying brake of vehicle on noticing someone suddenly come in front of it. Applying brakes of vehicle on noticing someone suddenly coming in front of it. Second, tying shoelaces while talking to someone. Next, mechanism of reflex action. The next heading, mechanism of reflex action. Now we represent the withdrawal of finger from hot surface. Here is a pictorial representation of a nerve pathway in a simple reflex action. Here we can see the impulses that receive from the receptor, that is skin, and this passing through this sensory neuron through dorsal ganglion. Then this enter into the grey matter of spinal cord, and then it again pass outside through the ventral root. This is the spinal nerve, and again it end into the effector part, that is the muscle. Here is the pictorial representation of nerve pathway in a simple reflex action. Here we take the example, the withdrawal of finger from hot surface, the skin and muscle. The impulse start from the receptor skin and end into the muscle part of our finger. In this there are 5 necessary parts. There are 5 necessary parts. First, stimulus. Here we take heat as stimulus. The receptor in sensory organ. The stimulus that attend the receptor in sensory organ, that is the skin. The sensory nerve fiber running through the dorsal root. This is the dorsal root. The sensory nerve fiber running through the dorsal root of the spinal cord or spinal nerve bring the impulse to spinal cord. The stimulus that heat, that the stimulus start from the skin, the receptor in sensory organ, that is skin. The sensory nerve fiber running through the dorsal root. Dorsal root of the spinal nerve. Bring the impulse to spinal cord. This is the spinal cord. From spinal cord, a motor neuron sending out the command. A motor neuron sending out the command through its efferent fiber. Then this impulse passing to the muscle or the gland. Here the muscle. Muscle or gland. That contract or secrete. In case of muscle, that contract, or in case of glands, that secrete. Here is the pictorial representation of nerve pathway in a simple reflex action. It starts from the dorsal part and to the ventral part. The stimulus, that is heat, the receptor from the skin. The heat that receive from skin. The sensory fiber running through the dorsal root of the spinal nerve bring the impulse to spinal cord. A motor neuron sending out the command through its efferent fiber. This is afferent and this is efferent fiber in the ventral root of spinal nerve. Here the muscle, a muscle that contract and we withdraw our finger from the hot surface. Now we complete this part. If you like, please like, share and subscribe the channel.